A$AP Rocky once again teased at his new album, Don't Be Dumb, dropping this month. Now, we have to talk about this because obviously the state of the record right now is pretty ominous. Nobody knows what's going on, but we'll talk about that today. So let's jump straight into this.
If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community.
You can now sign up for my free newsletter with the first link in the description. It comes every Sunday and recaps everything that's been happening in hip-hop over the past week, so make sure to do that. Now, as you can tell, there's no video today, it's just my voice. That is because I'm traveling, but obviously I still had to get these videos out to you. So for the next couple of days, it's going to be just audio. So kind of excuse that, but let me know if you like this style as well, because maybe I can do these while I have no option to take my camera while I'm traveling. So let me know what you think about this, but we have to talk about Rocky. We talked about him a couple of weeks ago. He obviously dropped Pray for the Gang, which was the single that we thought would lead into a bigger rollout for Don't Be Dumb. Nothing became of that. Obviously, we talked about this quite extensively, and he still hasn't said anything about the commercial performance of Pray for the Gang, which was pretty lackluster. We talked about this, barely getting streams, barely getting into any top sort of playlists, and this being an Apple Music exclusive, this was pretty disappointing for Rocky as well, obviously. And he also quickly deleted the music video for the song, which we never then got again, and he never talked about this. He never addressed any of this, and this made a lot of people concerned, because what did this mean for the record? What did this mean for Don't Be Dumb? Does this mean that he's gonna just completely just cut off this rollout again, just stop it, and then just, maybe start again in a year? That would obviously be the worst case scenario, and I would think that that would be crucial for this album, because in a year, if he once again just has this pump fake rollout, nobody will care about it. But we have to talk about what he just did, because he did talk about this thing dropping this month, at least hinted at it. Before we do that, I did want to point out that if you go through his feed, if it's on Instagram, if it's especially on X right now, it's all fashion, it's all OG, it's all retweets from, these pages connected to OG and OG fashion. And while it's impressive what he's doing, we have to acknowledge that. It's impressive what he's doing with the fashion and with OG and the way that they're rolling out this second sort of collection that they have with Paris Fashion Week. We want the music. I think no fan of Rocky right now, sees a post from him and is like, oh, what does this mean for the new OG collection? Maybe there's some of them, but I think the majority of Rocky fans right now is actually concerned about the music. They want the music. They do care about the fashion, but it's just not their most critical concern right now. And we know, if you go to Ray-Ban, Ray-Ban, the company, the sunglasses company that he's the first creative director for, it's really impressive what he's doing. If you go to their website, if you just want to purchase a Ray-Ban, pair of glasses, they have their own A$AP Rocky page in their shop. This is really big. This is impressive. By the way, I'm not paying $900 for these glasses. I don't care if they're from Rocky. I don't care how great they look. They're very expensive. But as I said, it's really impressive. We've also gotten new pictures from him in Paris. We know that he's always connected to the fashion. We know that that's something he truly likes to do. We know that that's his second most biggest passion, maybe even before music. We can see that again and again. But at this point, after 7 years, after testing dropped, and after giving us so much new info on this rollout for the past over 3 years at this point, 3.5 years, it's really just time for him to drop the record. Anyway, we talked about this. Obviously, we say this every video. Now let's take a look at this. The Twitter account for OG posted this clip with this saying August, and obviously a lot of people are looking at this and being like, okay, what does this mean? And then also Rocky retweeted this saying re-up. Now, what does this mean? We have no idea. We only have this post #August. We know that he always likes to use this reference for August, which obviously is a pun. August, the month, and August with OG. Everybody gets that, I know. But still, we know that he's always been playing around with this idea of dropping in August. We talked about this in the past videos as well. He canceled 2 festivals in Europe to maybe be able to drop this record now. And we know that he also wanted to drop in August last year when we had the release date of August 30th, 2024, which then got obviously canceled because of sample clearances and stuff. Yeah. And we never got the record. So we know that August is always something he likes to play with. He likes to use that pun, that wordplay. But also we have other projects from him besides Ray-Ban, The Fashion, and Og. He's also starring in this new movie with Spike Lee, or from Spike Lee, called Highest to Lowest. We've been knowing this for quite some time. We've had reports on him being featured in this film. We had reports that he's also in there with Denzel Washington. So this is a pretty big film. It's a pretty big thing for him as well. But this is also dropping August 15th, and maybe they are just referencing that. At this point, I could very well see that being a possibility. I could very well see this thing just being about the movie, and they're just teasing this, knowing that fans will likely think it is the record. And that's the main problem I have with that. Because, you know, as great as the Ray-Ban collab is, as great as that movie is with Spike Lee, as great as everything is that he does, and as impressive as all of that is, he knows that fans are waiting for the record. Well, we talked about earlier how fans do want the record. He has to be aware that every little thing he does, fans are going to be on his heels, looking for the smallest hints as to what this could mean for the record of Don't Be Dumb. So he has to know that we take this August tweet from him and interpret something connected to the record, to Don't Be Dumb, into it. That it just doesn't fit in my head how he could not possibly be aware of that. So we have to realistically think about the possibility that this is about the record. I think that it would just kind of be honestly provocative from him to tease this August thing again, knowing that fans will think it's about the record. And then he can play dumb, he can play oblivious, he can just be like, oh, whoever said this was about the record, it was about the movie all along. That works once, that works twice, but at some point your fans just feel like you're bullshitting them. And I think it's gotten to that point. If this August thing is again just about something else, about Og or about the Spike Lee movie, then I think a lot of fans are going to turn from him and a lot of fans are going to be disappointed. And I think if he doesn't drop this year, we talked about this in the Discord, if he doesn't drop this year, I wrote some of y'all on in the DMs on Instagram, as always, send me anything you got, just, start up a chat. If he delays it one more time, this thing is dead, bro. This thing will just, this thing will not be relevant anymore, especially after we saw that we don't have the kind of old thing that we can rely on where anything Rocky drops will be successful. We saw that with Pray for the Gang. It doesn't work like that anymore. And I think it's really gotten to a point where if he doesn't drop now and if the record isn't great, honestly, it's sad to say, but that's likely it for the, relevance or the big cultural impact that Rocky can have. But obviously, I do want to know what y'all think about this. Let me know what you think about everything we talked about today, about the tweet with the August, also about all of the project that Rocky is working on with Ray-Ban, with the Spike Lee movie, and when you think Don't Be Dumb is actually dropping. All of your thoughts on this, please let me know in the comments down below.
If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and y'all take care.